Hello, friends, and thank you for joining me again on our Self Developers YouTube channel. It's always a pleasure. Do comment, press likes, and also share if you find this information resonates with you, and also believe that what I'm about to talk about will help somebody else. So, today I wanted to talk about unleashing your inner Buddha. So what I mean by this is basically it can be unleashing maybe your inner diva or your inner beast. Yeah, so it's something that for me, it's not necessarily about religion, although I'm connected to like Buddhism, and I had like the opportunity to visit a Buddhist temple this past weekend. So I'm just going to tell you a little story about myself and how I came across like Buddhism. So I haven't really been initiated as such, but I feel and believe that those are beliefs that I'm closely aligned with, and I'm on a path to actually fully embrace that in the near future. Why I came across or chose this path is that I believe that everything is spiritually connected, and I find myself being grounded. So I came across like Buddhism through like reading and also just becoming aware of other people who were talking about it, and I was curious. I was like, oh, what's this thing all about, and why is everybody talking about it? So from a very young age. And what I like about it is that based on like what I've read, it's about finding eternal peace. Yeah, so that in life we have passing moments, and most of us are attracted to things that are superficial. Yeah, but the only thing that it's also been reinforced for me is that moments are passing, and it's been reinforced this weekend that moments are passing, but the one thing that can never be taken away is our internal peace. So going back to how I came across Buddhism, one of the books that I can recommend for you is called The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. Love that book. I read it while I was in Portugal finding myself. So I was like a woman on a mission, had broken up from like a relationship, which is like a long-term relationship. But I had decided at the time that this was the best thing for me. I needed to do this. And in order to do that, I felt like I needed a breakaway as well to rediscover who I was as a person. So I decided of all the times in my life that on my 30th birthday, after spending time with family and after spending time with friends, and to escape to Portugal for a week, it was the best ever decision I ever made. So one of my friends who's originally from India suggested for me to carry this book with me, The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari, by Robin Sharma. And I took it with me. And that week I read it, and I also carried a journal with me. And what I learned from it was very inspiring. It was about the lives that we choose to live, the fast pace type of lifestyle. And without going too much in detail, but the main character in this book had decided that the life that he was living was not sufficient, was not adequate, because it was making him ill. And he needed to find something else aside from the materialistic world that will help him to find eternal peace. So that was like my first exposure to reading more about it. And then through my own personal journey, I was explaining this to my mom the other day, is I was in South Africa. I had just come out of the hospital after seeing my sister, who was critically ill she was suffering from cardiomyopathy. And at the time she had collapsed, and she had all these medical equipment all around her, and the day was so intense, and I decided I needed to go for like a break. And this had been my usual everyday life. Well, so when I decided to go for a break, I was going back to where we were staying for that period while she was we were hoping that she would recover. And we stopped at this gas petrol station, and I was just with somebody who was driving me back to like my destination. And I was in the process of just buying like a few things for myself. And when I looked outside, there was this man who was just radiating, dressed in orange and just radiating all this like energy. I just froze where I was, and I could feel him walking closer and closer with all this like sun around him, all this energy that I felt coming from him. And I wanted to say something to him and I couldn't. And it was one of those moments where I wished I had said something to him. So he turned out to be a monk who, in that moment, I was so glued and fixed to him. And I felt like he was just taking away my pain without actually communicating it. And I was impressed by that much energy that he had. So with Buddhism, or your inner Buddha, whatever you may call it, it's about finding eternal peace that will help you to coast a long life in a healthier way so that events are not so painful. It's about learning daily practices and rituals, no matter where your background is, and embedding those. So whatever religion you may believe in, or whatever practice, upbringing you may have, it's finding that personal thing or personal journey that defines how you're going to find mechanisms which will link you closer to spending a few minutes during the morning to connect, to be at peace internally. So for me, my practice, and also linking it into Buddhism, it's about finding those moments where I can meditate and also appreciate life for what it is. That there will be moments, especially nowadays, we've got so much resource. We've got the internet, and we've got our upbringing as well. And we've got certain things that are happening in the world, which are like very fast paced, and information can sometimes feel like it's on overload, it's an overdrive. But we can't control what happens in the environment. We can't control the pain that's been inflicted on us. But one of the things that can help us find a center is the internal peace. So one of the things that I learned from the Buddha, like over this weekend, is that I asked him about death. So just in terms of death, what would his advice be? And would just by practicing daily rituals help us to be able to manage the experience of loss or the experience of trauma? And his answer was plain and simple. It was yes. With daily rituals and daily practices, especially those that are connected to finding inner peace, you definitely can find a way to balance so that when an impact happens, you are centered. It's not to say that we're all human beings, but it's to say that your makeup becomes much stronger. You become to accept life for what it is, that there are events that will happen. Okay, so the events will be that we're going through change in our lives. We're going to experience relationship breakups, for instance, or we're going to experience job losses. We're going to experience loss in our own immediate families, or friends, or in the community. And then there's a potential that we may, or somebody we know, unfortunately might become ill. And then it's also evident that all of us will eventually die. So it's appreciating that all these things will happen, but paying attention to the day, to the daily events, and valuing them more. And then also thinking about materialistic things. Those are fleeting. Is it something that's really necessary in your life? The cravings that you have, because those things will pass. And it's about reevaluating. If you're not happy in your life right now, what else can you reduce that is fleeting? Because the internal peace, when you have it, it's something that can never be taken away. While materialistic things, they come and go. So it's picking out, for instance, if you want to start a business, can you invest in learning how to start a business rather than buying the next expensive thing that's not needed? And thinking about, once you invest in that business, what value will it add not only to yourself but to other people? Okay, so everything that you do in life is thinking about, when I spend, how much value is it going to be for other people? It's something that will last, and it's something that will impact, and that will leave like a footprint. Yeah, so in that way is that when you experience loss, it's not going to impact you so much. The fleeting things, we may think, oh yes, I need those. But actually, you may realize when you practice this that you actually don't need them, because they will come and go. What makes you or gives you that stronghold is learning how to balance the internal, so that when you balance it on a daily basis, you learn that the pain becomes less and less and less, and then you also become very connected to other people who are like-minded in that sense, who are going through that same similar journey with you. And if there are people who are not going through the similar journey with you, it's about looking at when events happen in your life, or when you're impacted to no fault of your own, other people will notice the changes that you have made internally, and they will value you for that strength that you have developed as well. So that will radiate in terms of how you have developed and how your outlook becomes. And that can also be a very, very valuable thing that you can share with somebody else and impact the world in a much more positive way. So imagine there's only one of you who is managing this internal piece, and imagine if that multiplied over and over again, and millions of people were able to connect in that way. The likelihood is that any experiences we go through life, they would start to decrease, and we would all be comfortable, hopefully, in our own skin. But it's not to say we stop being human beings. It's more about how we learn to value the life that we have now, how we learn to become minimalist, and realizing that the materialistic things, they do not last. Okay, it's valuing things that will add value to other people. Yes, you need a bed. Yes, you need furniture. It's not saying you don't need those stuff, but it's the things that we crave and yearn for. And when they break, or when we lose them, even relationships, we are so heartbroken. But things come and things go. Things will impact us, but it's about finding that center every day to build your strength, so that you have energy to continue being in the position to be able to help others as well. So I'm going to end off here, and I hope this video has been of help. And if it has, do feel free to comment, share, like. I know it's not an easy topic, but your comments will be really valued. Bye for now from me.